Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family, we chose this one. This is episode 94, Furious 7, Lap 6. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by W Motors. The first hypercar created by W Motors, the Lykan Hypersport, catapulted the company to international stardom when it took center stage in Universal Studios' Furious 7. It was featured as the hero car in the movie and is the most expensive car ever to be featured in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Is the Lykan Hypersport, is that the car that they jump from building to building?
Yes.
Do we each have a Lykan Hypersport now in our driveways?
We might. Look outside.
Ooh. I mean, we have, my driveway's not big enough to have an entire lap of car dealership sponsors, but I'm gonna, not gonna look a literal gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, you can't keep it. You can't keep this beast caged.
It's a shame. I just want to punch him in the face.
Exactly.
So welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, we've got a wonderful guest to talk about Furious 7. I'm assuming he's wonderful. We have not recorded the outro yet, the back half yet,
No.
But I'm assuming, everybody we bring on here is great. It's, through no fault of our own. It's just people are cool. We find people who like these movies are cool people, I think.
I think so, too.
But yeah, so that'll be Furious 7 after the break. But first, Joe, extracurricular activities. What have you been up to since we did Gone in 60 Seconds? We know you teased it on the last episode. Before the 90-day... had a finale? What show had a finale?
No, it almost was the finale. They don't really tell you when the finale's... I know, they don't really tell you when the finale's coming. I mean, it's getting messy, everybody's either could be never talking to this person again or getting married immediately. Did I tell you the story about last time, how the last episode went?
Maybe, I have no idea.
Old guy, he's 50, 60, and he's been chatting with this Ukrainian girl. But to talk to her, he has to use this special chat app that he has to pay every time he's on the chat app. And she said, yeah, and she says she only wants to use this chat app because it has a translator in it, and it translates in between. So she'll be like, "Hey, baby," or in Ukrainian, he'll be like, "Hey, I love you so much," and it just auto translates, but he pays every time he's talking to her. Through the whole season, he's now on his 5th time he's gone to the Ukraine to meet this girl. 3 other times, she was sick or she was busy. He's flying from America to go to the Ukraine. He comes back the last time. This is the beginning of the
season.
season.
They're engaged at this point.
No, they're not. They're not. This is before the 90 days, so he's just going to go. He's going to propose to her, but she missed him last time.
What do you mean she missed him? He flew to the Ukraine and she wasn't there?
Yeah, she just didn't meet up. She was like, "I'm busy. I got other stuff to do." So.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. So.
I hate this show so much.
He comes back and he's like, "Well, she didn't meet up with me, so he's like, I'm gonna hire a private investigator, right?" So he hires a private investigator because his friend is also married to a Ukrainian lady, and she's like, "Look, dude, you're getting scammed. You're definitely getting scammed. He's paid almost $200,000 just to chat with this girl for 7 years, okay?" No, he's like, "I'm gonna get this private investigator." And the private investigator's like, "Dude, you're getting scammed. I found this profile on 10 other websites. The girl's the same. A lot of these girls do this. They're just scammers. That's what's happening." He's like, and he gets angry at the private investigator. He's like, "No, you're not leaving me any chance that she's real." And he's like, "Because she's not real." And he's like, "No, she's real." So he goes back to the Ukraine. He's like, "I'm gonna go one more time." It's the 5th time. So he's back in the Ukraine again. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go see her. If she doesn't show up, it's over." And the producers are like, "You think she's gonna show up?" It's to the point where the producers are in the show. You know what I mean? They're like, "Really,
right.
bud? You think she's gonna show up?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. I told her, meet me at this square at 11 o'clock. And he's looking at his watch, and he's like, "Oh, it's only 11:15. She might be a little late. It's okay." This bitch actually shows up. It's the same girl from the pictures. It was literally her talking to him.
Was she actually in love with him or no?
We don't know yet. That's just how the episode goes. They're now meeting for the first time. They're like, "Why didn't you go meet him before?" And she's like, "Didn't want to." That was it. That's her answer. Yeah, she's like, he was they're like, he was here 6 months ago, right? And she's like, "Yeah." That was the big mind-blowing part of this season so far.
Cool.
It's not the finale yet. Yeah. There's another girl, there's a Russian girl that was dating this guy from Tennessee. He proposed to her, right? And she's like, "I don't think it's a good time right now. I think that I need to think on this a little bit more. I really like you and I want to keep being with you, but I don't think on this." And he just flips and's like, no, she turned me down. She rejected my proposal. And we're all like, bro, like, that's not what she said at all. So he goes home and he's like, fuck her. We're done. She rejected my proposal. And he goes and like starts dating this girl at home. And then at the end of this episode, she just shows up in Tennessee. She was just like, surprise. And the other girl's at her house and they almost get into a fight. That's how that episode ended.
Huh.
But
Okay.
the Ukrainian thing really blew my mind. Like, I didn't believe this guy at all. We were talking mad shit all season. Like, she's not real at all. But yeah, she was real.
Okay.
I hate that it gives people hope. You know what I mean? Like, if you're being catfished, you're like, but there is a chance. Remember that episode of 90 Day? Like, you might actually be talking to this person. It's like, no, you're not. I don't know how they, like, fake this for TV, but you're not.
I mean, maybe she's taking one for the team for all the other catfishers out there. She's like, okay, I'm going to be real because it's going to make all of your lives easier.
Yeah, maybe. She's just a super good Samaritan, just holding all the other girls down.
Or she could be in love with this guy. I mean, that's probably not the case, but you never know.
Some of them are definitely in love, but most of them seem like they're just like very much tolerating this because they really want to come to America, and this is the only way
no
they
kidding.
can do it. And like, I respect the hustle because they're like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get to America.
I don't think I've done anything since last time of any kind of significance. But what else did you do? Have you done anything else? I know you watched a particular movie that I told you to watch.
Oh, yes. Okay, two things that I watched. I watched like 7 parts of The Last Dance.
Okay, so you're way ahead of me, like I said, like I predicted.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got drunk and watched it. It's excellent. I really liked it, but I was drinking a lot while watching it, so, like, I couldn't tell you everything that happened specifically. But I'm like, oh, this was very enjoyable as I'm watching it, so I'm into that. And I watched a great movie recommendation that you gave me. Did we talk about it on the last episode or, like, after it?
I mentioned it on the last episode. I didn't tell anything about it. It's Miracle Mile. I told you to watch it. We've
Yes.
since told Wes to watch it. I've told other people to watch it. You've passed it along. You've paid it forward.
To my friend.
It's all from my friend Bob, because
Yep.
he said, pass it forward like a chain letter.
Yep.
I told Jordan to watch it. I don't know that Jordan's watched it yet, but it's getting out there.
Dude, it is just a blast. It's like, it has all the fun 80s tropes that I love. Like, no spoilery stuff, but Goose from Top Gun's in it, who's also the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, which I didn't know until I was watching this movie. I was like, oh, it's the guy from Revenge of the Nerds. And you're like, it's Goose from Top Gun. And I was like, are those two guys the same guy? And
It's
we're
a
like,
real Braga. It's the same situation. It's like, oh no, that's the guy from Training Day. Oh no, that's the guy from Breaking Bad. Oh no, it's the same guy. It's Braga.
Exactly. Bubba Gump is in it.
Yeah, McKelty Williamson.
It's a wild ride. It's fun. It's an hour and a half. I told my buddy who loves like 80s action movies about it. He was like, 30 minutes into it, just like, this is awesome. It might be one of my favorite American movies ever. It's a great ride. It was a great recommendation. I thank you for it because I found it really enjoyable. And Rachel was finishing up Dom's Charger Lego set, and she was glued to the TV and watching it as well, which is always a good
Cool.
sign, right? Like,
Yeah, and she did finish the Lego. I know you put it on Twitter and such.
Yeah.
So
It's
so
cool.
much torque, the chassis twisted, all coming off the line.
yeah, I'm excited to hear you do it. I don't think she was like trying to like speed do it, but it took her like 2 or 3 days of just like, like only when I would be like home from work and stuff like that. So I would say it probably took her like 6 hours total.
All right.
It's not like it's like super hard or anything. She like puts the stickers on, she like gets a beer, just does it nice and slow. So it's definitely worth it because like I've seen her put together the smaller ones that she could blow through them in like a half an hour, right? So
Well, there was something that, what was it? Brian Supra is, they need your support. Like, they want to make sure they want to make it, but they
Yeah.
don't have, I guess, they don't know if enough people are going to buy it or something.
Lego does this, and Matt sent it to us, that like you can come up with like a Lego design, and it's kind of like crowdsourced. Like if everybody votes that they want this design, they'll consider making this design. But I think that
Gotcha.
Brian Supra is pretty much like the next logical choice, right? Like if they just inked the deal with Universal, they released Dom's Charger.
I mean, either that or 1327
Oh god.
with a refrigerator filled with Snapples.
Oh god. Oh god. Can you imagine if we had 1327 and you had to put like all these little like horse pictures up the stairs?
Horse pictures and candles and Snapples just everywhere.
Yeah, I love it. That would be awesome.
Pile of microwaves out back.
The basketball hoop on the garage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I want 1327 and I want a garage. I want 2 separate pieces. And then there's like the barbecue set. You get like the table and like the grill that's an oil drum, and like you get some other stuff, like all the little guys. Dude, we have a whole set planned. This could be a whole theme park.
Oh, of course. I mean, they know who to consult.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the Lego expertise. We got the Fast and Furious expertise. We've got the free time. We've got the passion.
Exactly.
Pay us in Legos.
Pay us in Legos, please.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that the thing that like we looked it up, and at the end of Lego Masters, like one of the prizes was like your Lego gets put in the new Lego theme park. And do you know where it is?
Oh, Universal Studios?
No, they're putting one in New York, right at the fucking Jets Stadium. It's like in the same parking lot.
So in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Thank you. I urge you to respect the state that I live in.
I do. I didn't mean it anything bad. It just they're still the New York Jets, the New York Giants. So
my dad always gets crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know why, but he goes crazy when the Giants game is on like Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, and then they show like the New York skyline. He's like, it's not New York. Like, all right, what are you gonna show downtown Newark? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you see the Prudential Center and it's just like downtown Newark, and you're like, oh, that looks weird.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great at all.
Well, we have a Patreon page here on the show, toofast2forever.com. If you want stickers, merchandise, swag, our eternal love and affection, our access to our minute document, our Fast and Furious quiz, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, and Christian Larson.
Thank you,
for
guys.
supporting us over there. Thank you all so very much.
Appreciate it. It is.
We also have an email address in the show, family@cageclub.me, if you want to write in. If you want to say hi, family@cageclub.me. So we got a couple different things. Since we recorded, Hector sent in 2 more car pictures.
Oh, God.
Because Hector keeps sending in car pictures, so thank you, Hector.
Thank you.
Jerry also sent in a car picture, so
Cool.
we've got another one of those. The first email we have up that I'm going to read is from Jason Dickinson, subject line, The Fast Saga.
What's up, Jason? How's it going, buddy?
New ranking of the Fast Saga. So he has,
Okay.
from the bottom up, 8, Fast and Furious, which was the same thing. Number 7, The Fate of the Furious, which dropped from him for 4 to 7. That's a serious drop.
I hope we didn't influence that too much.
Number 6, Tokyo Drift, up 1.
Okay.
Number 5, Fast and Furious 6, up 1. Number 4, Fast 5, up 1. Number 3, The Fast and the Furious, still the same.
Okay.
Number 2, Furious 7, still the same. And number 1, Too Fast, Too Furious. So it looks like 8 fell a couple spots, and the other 3 benefited from it. So pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yeah, Too Fast is his favorite one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I forget that. Yeah, he's really helping it out.
All-timer tonight.
Too Fast is fun, man. We love it.
So then we had a first-time occurrence on Patreon. Jerry Robinson edited their pledge to $5. He says, why don't we kick it up a nickel or more like a tier? Decided to go up to $5. So Jerry went from the $1 to $5. Buddy. So Jerry, we got stickers on the way out to you very shortly. But your name in the intro. Actually, let's run it back. Let's run it back.
Run it back. Add them up. Let's do it.
Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of a High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, and Jerry Robinson.
Oh, man.
For supporting us at the $5 level or above. Thank you all so very much. I truly do appreciate it.
I do appreciate it. I can't wait till
we've never had a tier edit like that before.
No, I think maybe Justin did.
Oh wait, no, we've had it a lot. We've had 3. Jake, Alex, and Nick all did it.
There you go. See? Exactly.
Next email from Alex Ellen. Do you think Fast and Furious Minute was Mia's nickname for Brian? He says, we're finally to the point where I can reference this tweet from 5 years ago, and he tweeted on June 27th, 2015, at 2:40 p.m., Mia Toretto puts out on the first date.
Oh, but I mean, it's not... I mean, this is their first official date, but he's been courting her for months.
Yeah, but...
Hey...
I mean, no shade.
It's not like it's like the first time they made eye contact. He's been... You know how many shitty tuna sandwiches he ate? He's been hanging out at the garage. He's met her family. They've had dinners together. This is just the first date. Official date.
Yeah, but still. I mean, his tweet's not incorrect. That's all
I'm
saying.
Not incorrect.
We also don't know yet. This is the minute we cut to the Racer's Edge. We'll get to that when we get to that. But we cut to the Racer's Edge. We see him wake up, his phone rings, but we do not see Mia yet. So the next minute we will know that Mia officially...
No, maybe they just snuggled. Who knows? We didn't see a body. I didn't see penetration.
I'm not leaving that in. I'm not leaving that. That is. Whoo boy, maybe I'll bleep that.
It wasn't that bad, to be honest. That's not something that was like that vulgar.
Our final email today from Wes Hampton. Subject line, gone in 60 seconds and some other stuff probably. I really can't keep it straight anymore. What up, fam?
What up, Wes? Neither can we, bud.
He's like, are you doing Gone in 60 Seconds tonight? I was like, no, we already did that. That's coming out Friday. We're doing Fury 7 now. So it really is the pre-tape call-in show. Okay, so he says... I'm writing this on my phone in between screening people to come on site at work, so hopefully I'll get through it quickly, but it'll probably take hours. The Italian Job episode was great. I've heard a lot of good things about how good the original is, so maybe I'll talk Mrs. West into watching it with me. We both really like the remake, so it shouldn't be too hard. Anyway, on with my notes. Did Rachel watch original Italian Job or original Gone? You watched Italian Job with her. Did she watch Gone in 60, the original, or no?
Yeah, she watched both. I actually stopped the Italian Job, came home, and was like, let's restart this because I think
Right,
you'd
I
enjoy
remember
this
that.
movie. The Gone in 60 Seconds was, I don't think she cared about at all.
But she liked the Italian Job.
Yeah, she liked the Italian Job. Maybe I watched like half of Gone in 60 Seconds and like didn't even try to restart it for her because I knew.
Like about 30 seconds worth?
Yeah. Ha 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 ha.
In regards to our connection with Arizona, I lived there for a good part of my life up through my freshman year in high school. Then I moved back for a couple years for college. Mrs. West was born in Ohio, but lived in Arizona from about a year and a half until we moved to Texas together when she was 21. We still go back and visit a lot, so we still have strong ties to the deserts.
I like the desert. I'm a big fan. That's where I'm going to go.
We talked about it a little, but the reaction among Mrs. West and our friends was a bit mixed. I have to say, this is
He's
about
talking
Tulane
about,
Blacktop.
yeah, he watched
Yes.
Tulane Blacktop. Wes told us that he was going to watch it because the people that he wanted to watch it with were fans of...
They love the Beach Boys and love James Taylor.
And he heard the episode and was like, okay, we'll watch the movie.
I'd have to say it was a really entertaining experience to watch it with them, and I think just about everyone liked the movie, but they weren't expecting a very quiet, awkward art house film. Overall, I'd say we mostly felt like you. It was good, but we were not in a rush to revisit it.
I tried to warn him. He was like, I'm going to watch this with friends. I was like, it's a very artsy film. Like, just giving you a heads up.
I'm not saying this in this situation, but that's the kind of movie that, like, with the wrong friends, you suggest to watch this movie, and, like, you don't get more movie recommendations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
It's
take
like,
the sticks from you. You
it's
don't
like,
get
oh,
the
no,
aux cord ever again.
Hey, Wes, you want to watch Tulane Blacktop again? That worked out real great.
That's what I was thinking. And I didn't want to be like, bro, you might get banned for this. But, like, yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's just like, this is, if they're expecting one thing,
Yeah.
they're expecting a thing that with musicians are in it or a car movie or whatever, right? Like,
That's why I tried to at least give it to him, like, just so you know, it's like a very artsy film. So, like, I'm not swaying you from watching it, but just, like, send everybody in with the right mindset.
he says, Joe, believe it or not, I was just talking to a friend yesterday about chicken parm with fettuccine alfredo on the side. I thought it was a common pairing because there's a local Italian chain here that we go to every once in a while that does it. I say it's a good combo. The white sauce mixed with the red sauce is a nice treat. But also, for the record, Joe, we know what Wes thinks of food. I don't know that Wes is necessarily the person you want in your corner to back this up.
Yeah, I don't think I need Wes's palate's affirmations for my...
If Wes is saying this is a good food combination, that's enough to say, like, oh no, this probably should not be eaten by people.
Yeah, I might have to reconsider. It's like not a common thing, but it's like an American Italian restaurant common thing. I don't know. I think maybe Olive Garden started it, and probably everybody else just like was doing what Olive Garden was doing or something.
One of the very first sponsors of the show, the Olive Garden.
Exactly. It's like a thing that like you would see in like Italian restaurants where the whole family has never actually been to Italy, but they're just like very proud of being Italian, but in America forever. That's what you would get. I like Italian American food. It's just it's a completely different experience than like Italian food, right? Like, and both are good, but they're just different.
Wes says, I actually watched Gone in 60 Seconds, I'm assuming the original, and it was awesome. It was a little odd at first with the amount of voiceover exposition dumps, but it was really just an excuse to have like a 40-minute car chase, and I loved it.
Yes.
It was basically Grand Theft Auto, the movie.
Yep.
In fact, the part of the chase when he's leaving the city and heading out on the freeway felt very GTA, with the first-person shots of him just flying down the freeway and calmly drifting back and forth to pass cars.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't know if I missed it or if it was intentionally misleading, but when he pulled into the car wash, I thought he was just hiding, and then they showed the next Eleanor inside. My first thought was, damn, this really is a video game. A quick stop on the car wash and his car is fixed. Of course, he just got lucky and spotted another of the exact same car, which lends itself to another GTA comparison. It always seems like the game spawns whatever car you're currently driving in more frequently than other cars.
It does, and that's really funny. I can see your GTA relationship now if you think that driving through the car wash fixed the entire car, because that's the whole thing, so...
I think it was Saints Row. It wasn't a car wash. It was like a paint shop, and you would go there and it would do the same thing. It would just, bring your car back to new, but it was also just change it a different color, too, which was always fun.
Oh, that's cool. I like that idea.
He says, okay, you mentioned something in the minute that I've wanted to bring up for a while, so this seems like an appropriate time.
Ooh.
In the first movie, Dom says he lives his life a quarter mile at a time, and he talks about his team and their bullshit. I don't believe, and haven't really believed for a while, that family is a central theme of the franchise. Ooh.
Wow!
He says, at least not at first. Family doesn't become a big thing until 5. In the first one, he doesn't even call them a family, they're a team. He babies Jesse a bit, and he does sort of a bad impression of a protective older brother with Mia, but he doesn't seem particularly close to Leon, and he treats Vince kind of poorly, plus he's borderline unfaithful to Letty, or at least disrespectful. F2 obviously isn't about family, beyond Roman and Brian reconciling, but it's more about Brian figuring out his code, kind of.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift is more about family, and Han has that great speech, but looking at it chronologically, it makes sense for it to happen later.
That's
looking
interesting.
at it in release order, this is where Justin Lin and Chris Morgan entered, and they brought the family vibe to the franchise. Even in 4, it's there a little, but not totally. It's about revenge, and I guess you could say it's about people realizing the value of family. But once we get to 5, it's all family all the time, so that leaves only half the main franchise that really focuses on how important family is. It's the stronger half of the franchise for sure, but still only half. But my point isn't just to point out how they messed up earlier on. My point is that there's really a series about how the characters evolve. They've kind of settled into their roles now, but look at the arc of Dom or Brian or Letty or anyone that's been around for a few movies, and you really get a sense that the early films were younger, more hot-headed, or impetuous versions of the characters we have now. I think that's really great. It's not a franchise entirely about how important family is. It's a franchise that shows a bunch of people growing and realizing how important family is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do you think this? Do you agree? Are you subscribing to this? I think he makes good points.
I think they're all good points. I come in a weird time because I entered in 5, and I think one of the memes of this franchise, what people know and what people make fun of this franchise about, is Dom just grumbling family, right?
Yes.
Family. F-A-M-B-L-Y, right? Family, whatever.
Yeah.
I do think that the reason we're able to keep covering this the way that we cover it, and the way that we're able to keep watching the movies the way that we do, and talking about them the way that we do, is because we care about the characters, and they do evolve. If they were always family, if they never really grew, they were all just, this tight bond, it wouldn't be interesting. I mean, we've talked about the evolution arcs of characters, and I think because of that, because of the fact that they grow and evolve and change, and that things, I mean, nobody really dies anymore, everybody comes back, but decisions and actions have consequences, I think it is fair. It's a good point.
That's interesting. I do think that in retrospect, we see a lot more family in 1 than there actually is, but I wouldn't deny that, Letty, Dom, Mia, and to a certain extent, Brian become like a family, right? As much as, he does kind of shit on Leon and Vince, and Jesse's kind of like a kid, like an adopted child. You make some good points. It's hard to argue against.
I mean, I also think that knowing what we know about 1 and how it was maybe going to be, they didn't know it was going to be a start of a franchise, it was just a thing, and then when 2 was a different movie, a different installment altogether because Vin didn't want to come back, and then 3 is a whole different story altogether, and it doesn't really make sense to have a through-line narrative of family if the characters are different every time, right? It's just...
That's true, yeah.
There's no family if you don't have the same characters from movie to movie. The only carryover is Brian, and then Vin or then Dom a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It would be a very weird through-line to be we're never going to get separated and then never see them again. To Wes's point about, Justin Lin coming in at 3... I think the reset in 4 established it. I think really 4 is the start. I think
it's a cornerstone. I say this all the time.
5 makes it feel that way, but 4, when they're at the the thing, it's a scene that's in the farewell to Brian, farewell to Paul montage in this movie, but the scene where it's the 3 of them having dinner, right? It's after everything comes back at the end of 4, the middle of 4, whatever. That's kind of the kickoff. This is weird. This is what matters, right? There's all the bullshit, the team and all their bullshit, right? But family is what matters, and that's. That's where we go from.
Yeah, that's what I agree with.
So it sounds blasphemous from the outside, right? It's not about family. It's wait, what are you saying?
Yeah. But
it's a good point.
It is a good point. I like it.
Says, all right, that's it for today. I wrote this on my phone, so I'm not spelling or grammar checking it. So good luck, and until next time, stay furious, Wes.
Thank you, Wes. That was a good email. I'm going to think about this, and we can talk about it later on now.
That's all the emails that we have. family@cageclub.me if you want to write in, say hi, give your rankings, update your rankings, your thoughts on whether the movies are about family or not.
Yeah.
Family at Cage. Should we do we change our email address now?
Is it not family?
Second half of the franchise, family@cageclub.me.
Distant cousins. What's the fucking movie from Arrested Development? Dangerous Cousins?
Like Cousins Dangerous.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We could be dangerous cousins at
Dangerous Cousins at cageclub.me. Cool. If you want to go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. That would be wonderful. 21 ratings, all 5 stars. Thank you all for doing that. Joe, on the streets, this is not something necessarily about the Fast and the Furious, because I don't think there is Fast and Furious news. But
No.
this is something that I might have seen all over the place. I just didn't have context for it. But you know how, like, once you're made aware of something, you start seeing it everywhere. Not in
Yes.
the GTA sense where, like, you're in a car and it's easy for the game to generate that car because, like, the graphics are already loaded on screen.
Yeah.
But, like, you see a thing, you see a number, you see a pattern, you see it everywhere.
Yes.
Story in my Google Alerts. Here's why Nicolas Cage bought a $500,000 Lamborghini Mira.
What?
The mid-engine sports car is an absolute power machine, has a lot of significance to its name, and is one of the best-looking cars of all time.
Yes. He has one? That's so cool.
Has purchased well over a dozen different high-end automobiles, and he has good taste for sure. He's purchased vehicles including, but not limited to, Bugattis, Ferraris, and even an Eleanor.
He's not a self-indulgent wiener, sir.
What's that from?
Gone in 60 Seconds when he goes to the Ferrari guy. Oh, you've never seen the movie as many times as I have. Sorry.
I've seen the movie 3 times in 10 years.
Oh, God.
I haven't seen it in earnest since 2015.
It's a really good movie. You should probably revisit it.
Despite how practically every classic and modern Bugatti is extremely limited in production, Cage bought something even more rare than the 101 and Type T57C Atlantic Coupe Bugattis he spent millions on. It's a Lamborghini. Why would Cage buy something so special? Well, the truth is, there doesn't seem to be any logical reason for this purchase. Fucking article. I should have read this ahead of time. He bought the Lamborghini Mira along with SVJ, along with many other rare vehicles within a small and very expensive time in his life. Purchased for about $500K at an auction in '97, so this is in the midst of the Rock Con Air face-off time, and was previously owned by the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Along with many other rare exotic vehicles, this is part of a very large spending spree Cage went on during his career.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Not well. So it's very clear why he bought this Angry Bolt. It's an absolute power machine of a car, has a lot of significance to its name, and is one of the best-looking cars of all time.
Yeah.
The first mid-engine production car model, and you own the rarest version of it. It's no wonder this was an offer he couldn't say no to, and given its value, he got it for an absolute bargain.
Yeah, but did he ever get to sell it? Like, or did they just take it?
He worked his way out of that.
Did he? I don't know, like, what was his assets?
He's in the clear now.
That's
I
what
mean,
I
he
was
might have gone
asking.
back in, but he cleared his income tax debt.
Okay, but
several years ago.
But did he have to, like, sell off all of his shit to get it? Is what I'm saying. Like,
I know he sold houses. I don't know if he sold. I mean, I don't.
Probably
Also,
cars.
if you're the kind of guy who's buying multiple $1 million cars, like, and that's 23 years ago, what are the odds that you still have it? You know what I mean? You might be just buying and selling as it is. So
yeah, true.
who knows?
It's cool though that he had one.
Again, like a car name that I had never. Probably, I never would have thought that I had heard before, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? And now we've seen it 3 or 4 times, right? So
Yeah, and there's a Cage link to it. That's cool.
Yeah, it didn't even come in the Fast and Furious one. It came in the Nicolas Cage Google alert, so there we go.
Makes sense. That was a good one. I like that.
Any updates that you've seen? Any news, any actor news, any movie news, anything like that?
No, I was going to talk about hopefully getting the Lego.
Yes,
Brian's
cool. Okay.
Brian's Super.
Yep.
but-
So we're going to do Rock the Vote. And that's going to search on Google News, The Rock president. Let's see if Mr. Dwayne Johnson is running for president. New news there, but nothing about that. We're going to search Dwayne Johnson president. Still just about his book being released, about his daughter being signed to the WWE.
Oh, that's cool. When she got signed to WWE, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, she's 18. Simone got signed to the WWE 2 days ago. Or maybe that article's from 2 days ago, but recently, yeah?
Yeah, easy pickup.
Once again, still not running for president yet, but we got nothing but time. Or, as Brian says, I've got time.
Yeah.
Joe, the final thing we have to do before we take a break, before we talk about Furious 7, is the Fast and Furious minute 61. So I've got 2 titles here. I don't know which one you like. I don't know if we do both. I don't know if you do one or the other. Minute 61, either Mia also has gravity-like properties, or want to go for a drive.
I like Mia also has gravity-like properties.
She's like gravity. Brian gets pulled to her.
Exactly.
No. The only thing that pulled me in was you. Being friends with your brother's just a bonus.
That's good. It's good. It's nice to come first every once in a while. Wanna go for a drive?
So in this minute, Brian and Mia continue their date. The date ends when she takes Brian for a ride, wink, wink, but actually in her car.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, another truck jacking begins. We then cut to the racer's edge where ... We'll find out next minute. But Brian's phone rings.
Yeah.
Notably, I think this is, as far as I remember, this is Mia's first driving scene, right? Like, this is kind of the iconic Mia driving scene.
Or she might have, like, driven to the first race.
Well, we don't see it, because they roll up in 5 cars, right? So maybe...
Yeah.
So we got Dom driving, we got Letty, we got Vince, we got Leon, either Jesse or Mia, probably, right?
Probably Jesse, yeah.
I also do want to make note that I mentioned it earlier, that in that montage in the end of Furious 7, which we'll talk about today, there's the line from this minute, want to go for a drive.
There absolutely is, and I had just finished the movie and then put on the minute, and I was like, holy shit, this was just exactly what happened.
What's your big takeaway here? I've got some other, conversation starters, but let's go to you first. What else do you know about this minute? You said you crushed this minute. You said, I crushed this minute.
I crushed
So what do you have to talk about?
First thing is I put in all Mia's car details because I put that off because we saw her car. Remember, we saw it parked out in front of 1327. I said, no, I'm saving it for here. Filled it all in. Got her license plate.
What are these bottom 3? Are these stickers?
Yeah, those are stickers on her car.
What's the decal? What's the design on the side?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's big. It's really big.
I think it's just like an abstract kind of thing. Hold on. Shit, what's the name of this? Like a runner? What's the famous runner? The god of running? Like a Nike?
Yeah, Nike.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? Like it's like a person, like a speeding bullet, silver person that's like running and like touching for a finish line or something.
Oh, yeah. It kind of looks like Superman if Superman was a Silver Surfer, sort of.
Yeah, there you go. That works too. Yes.
Okay.
Very similar to that. So it's just like,
cool.
Smoothing speed. I'm going to take you on a little ride here. Okay?
Want to go for a ride?
I want to go for a ride with you. We pull out of the cha-cha-cha. It's right beside us. We make a right. We start driving up the street. We see the street. It's Melrose Avenue. There's something there. Independence. I don't know what it is. Across the street, we got LA Music and Golden Hen. I look. Waz Golden Hen is a restaurant that is still there. You can go to Waz Golden Hen across the street. It exists. Look at it. It still looks pretty much the same. The building was pink. Now it's kind of like white. But Waz Golden Hen is there. And the food looks fucking good, to be honest.
It does.
Doesn't it?
I'm looking at pictures right now. Looks really good.
It actually looks really good. So, I kind of want to go eat at Waz Golden Hen. And the only reason why I want to eat at Waz Golden Hen is because if you go across the street in Google Street View, the place next to Independent Cab Company, where the cha-cha-cha would be, is an empty lot. Got bulldozed. There's nothing there.
Oh no. Poor cha-cha-cha.
There is no cha-cha-cha anymore. That building is just demolished. So we lost it. We'll just have to eat at Waz Golden Hen, which probably had better food because it doesn't have food all over the place. And
I still feel like we never got a satisfactory answer to what food all over the place means. Like, there's just pineapples, a couple pineapples, and then there's chili pepper-shaped lights. I'm still not satisfied by an answer to food all over the place.
I'm not either. Actually, this is funny. Waz Golden Hen has a picture of George Lopez eating there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one question, if we ever talk to Jordana Brewster, be like, what, was that the line?
Yeah.
Would you say, does that mean something?
Yeah. What the fuck was going on here?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anything else that you notice? Anything else of importance?
There's a really weird billboard of just a child's face, and I wanted to know what this billboard says, but I can't, I won't see it, right? But there is a billboard there with just, a baby's face on it. I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's, for adoption or what. I don't know.
In the conversation between Brian and Mia, I think you can see the moment that the Mia character falls in love with the Brian character. That's when he says, being friends with your brother is just a bonus.
Yes.
And she looks at him and, doesn't know what to say, and she says, that's good, that's good. And it's oh, that's the moment. That's, to be looked at like that, it's just oh, yeah, it's over. It's done, right?
Yeah.
That's it. She says, it's nice to come in first every once in a while, and I was like, did Dom never let her win anything growing up? I can just see them playing, and, he just wins everything.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That's a good brotherly thing to do. I don't think that you should, let your younger siblings win anything. Instill that fear in them. Maybe you'll make Michael Jordan.
And maybe there'll be a 10-part documentary series about Mia Toretto.
Yeah, exactly.
The other big question is, we're going to know more when we get the phone call in the next minute. We're going to see more of the truck job in the next minute. We're going to see a lot of the fallout, essentially, from this minute. Do you think Brian or Mia knew that they were going to jack a truck, or were they, was Vince potentially? I know it's probably they're getting a call, there's a truck, look for Rogers on the side, or the equivalent, or whatever, right? But
yes.
Maybe Vince knows that Brian is going to be on a date with Mia, and he goes, Dom, let's do this truck Friday night at 10.
I think that it was just very convenient that Brian could be away on a Friday night. They used that opportunity to find a heist to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that they're on to Brian? Do you think that Vince is like, let's do this one when he's not around because we're afraid that he's a narc?
I think that Vince might think that, but I also think it's just a good excuse. Like, if you have this friend, and he's kind of a new friend, he's been hanging around a lot, all of a sudden it's Friday night, and you're like, hey guys, what
And
are
he's
we
not
doing?
like Leon. He doesn't just seem like a criminal.
He doesn't just seem like a criminal. No, but if you were like, hey, this kid's in town, we've hung out with him every single day, it's Friday night, you're like, okay guys, where are we going? They're like, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't know, nothing. You'd be like, that's fucking weird, right? Like, just even as a friend, you'd be like, what do you guys, like, this is okay. If you don't want to invite me, fine. And then they're like, no, we're just like busy.
What if, in this, to take this to the next level, what if Mia asking Brian out on a date was a setup to get him out of the way?
And she didn't actually like him.
And then she just falls in love with him, has 2 kids with him, all out of the... just to get him out of the house for the one truck jacking.
Exactly.
Or, like, she just does it to get him out of the house, and then she actually falls in love with him.
Yeah, that's what I could imagine, right? It doesn't seem like Mia is, like, taking cues from Dom to, like, do stuff like that. He kind of lets her do whatever she wants.
No, I think her, to a certain extent, her and Letty are both like, you said one more job. Like, we're done, right? Like, this is it. Like, we're not really against it, but we're against it, right? Like,
yeah.
let's just live normal lives.
Yeah.
They're not addicted to the bullets, just like Brian is in this man in Furious 7.
True.
But do you think that Tanner and or Bilkins are going to be upset? Like, say this truck jacking goes awry or whatever, and they're like, where were you? He's like, well, I was getting my dick wet, sir. Like, do you think that they're going to be upset because he was out on a date instead of, like, keeping tabs? I mean, he also can't be tasked to keep tabs on Toretto every hour of the week. But also, I could see them getting mad, like, you had no inclination, you had no idea that they were going to do this?
Yeah, but he can play it off like, well, I was, trying to get information from Mia, and he did. He, like, learned when Jesse showed up, and the story of Vince and Leon and Letty. Like, he's gathering background information. He's like, okay, like, they weren't here.
But I think they can also be like, yeah, but you were with them for 60 hours this week, and you didn't hear a single thing that might lead them to this?
Yeah, I don't know. That could be shady.
I mean, just look at Leon, right?
Exactly. He looks like a criminal, dude. He really does.
He moans like a cop, and he looks like a criminal.
He moans like a cop, yep.
Any other thoughts about this Fast and Furious Minute? Otherwise, we have to do the trivia question.
No, I really want some of this Golden Hen Chinese food now, because it actually looks really fucking fire, and I'm so stoked on it.
I would be down for it. Yes, please, and thank you. I haven't had Chinese food in months, probably. I mean, not for sure, not since this has all started.
Rachel makes some good Chinese food dishes. We had a lot of fried rice and stuff too, so
cool.
Yeah, we've been eating some, but not. This looks like traditional Chinese food, like not even like takeout Chinese food. It looks like.
Oh, I had Chinese food in Vegas. Yes, at CES, we went to the Michelin star rated Chinese place, which is just amazing.
Yeah,
just great. So I've not had it since early January, so 4.5 months.
Jeez.
All right, I wrote down 2 trivia questions. Let me know if you like one of these, both of these, or neither of these. We can do a different one. But either, this one's kind of easier. I don't know if I love this one. What driving maneuver does Mia pull while driving Brian home from their date?
Nah.
Or, how does Brian describe his relationship with Dom? The answer is, he calls it a bonus. Because the answer to the first question is that she pulls a U-turn. She, like, basically, kind of, not Tokyo drifts, but, like, hard, e-brake 180.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that's kind of lame. I don't like that one.
A necessity.
A great friendship.
A true love.
A true love, yeah.
A bonus, a great friendship, a necessity, a true love.
It's perfect.
So we're up to now 66 questions through 61 minutes.
Oh, Mario Lemieux.
All right, Joe, let's take a quick break. Let us hear another word from, who was it, W Motors?
Yes, W Motors.
We'll be back to talk about Furious 7 right after this.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 94, Furious 7. This episode's brought to you by W Motors. The Lykan is the most advanced species of wolves in mythical legends. Hidden under an elegant and luxurious mask, the Lykan can transform at any given time should the need arise to show its power and leadership. Shout out W Motors.
Well, thank you, W Motors. And with us tonight to talk about Furious 7, a movie in which the Lykan jumps from building to building to building. It's so weird that I've seen this movie so many times that like I don't even like that scene doesn't do anything for me anymore. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's
No.
jumping from building to building. But to talk about Furious 7 Lap 6, we have with us Jeff Gelaspi. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
What's up,
Good,
brother?
good.
Thank you so much for joining us on Too Fast, Too Forever. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, totally excited to talk about some Furious 7 and forgetting about how the car jumped from one building to the other, and then out of nowhere we're going into a third building in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, because 2 buildings is not enough. It's going to the third one. That's where things happen. So before we get started, before we talk about the conversation, we got to establish some credentials with you. First thing, have you seen all 9 movies?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Nice.
When was the first time? 2-part question. What was the first one that you saw, and when was the first time you saw this one?
First one I saw was The Fast and the Furious. So like a little bit of background. The first one came out like smack dab in between middle school and high school for me.
Okay.
That was a point in my life where I was super into tuner cars.
Yeah.
Partially because me being Filipino and then being Asian and hanging around with a bunch of other Asian kids at my school, that was kind of just like the peripheral stuff that bled over into my interests. And so I had like a small collection of import tuner magazines. And so when Fast and the Furious came out, I was like, whoa, I got to watch this movie.
Was it advertised in the magazines?
It wasn't advertised, if I remember correctly, but I did not. So I didn't see the movie right when it came out. It was probably a couple of months after I was able to pick it up on DVD. No one else in my family was really interested in going to the theater and taking me out to go watch a movie about cars going really fast and some scantily clad women. That was a blast. I had it on DVD. I still have that original DVD with me
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
in all of its like pseudo holographic cover glory.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
Furious 7, I saw that in theaters the first weekend with my wife. I had to slowly convert her over to watching the movies like pretty much either the first or second weekend.
Okay.
How did that work? Did it work? Is she converted now?
Yeah, she's converted. The first couple of movies, she hadn't seen the first 3. So when Fast and Furious came out, it took a little bit of convincing for her to go along with me to the theater. And then it was like a gradual build up until 7 came out. And then she was like, okay, fine, we'll go watch it this weekend.
That's how it works. Got to break them down slowly, man.
It seems like you're successful in the end, and she's even more so now your ride or die.
Exactly, 100%.
Very important. Now, the one bit of prep that we asked you to do, I hope you did this. If not, you can do it on the spot. There's no wrong answers, even though it's the most difficult question you'll ever be asked. Can you please rank the 9 movies from least favorite to favorite or favorite to least favorite? Either way, top to bottom or bottom to top.
From most favorite to least favorite, The Fast and the Furious, Fast
First
and
one.
Furious, Tokyo Drift, Furious 7,
Wow,
Fast
okay.
5, Fast and Furious 6,
Okay.
Fate of the Furious. I have to like caveat like all of these aren't like hard 1 through 9. It's like maybe
Of course.
like 1A, 1B.
Sure.
Yeah.
Too Fast, Too Furious, and then unfortunately got to put Hobbs and Shaw at the bottom.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Where did you have the 4th one? I think I missed the 4th one.
Oh, I had that as my second.
Tokyo Drift
Really
is 3.
high.
Okay.
Yeah, Tokyo Drift
Yeah.
is 3.
So we had not a theory, but we had a trend that we noticed that Fast 5 was basically everyone's number 1. It's your number 5, which is fairly low in terms of the
Yeah, and
the
Fast
overall
4 is
reception.
pretty high. Does you're going to see it with your wife for like her first Fast and Furious? Does that play into that one?
A little bit. Part of it was just the excitement of, after the franchise kind of not being around for a couple of years and then seeing part of the old gang
Sure.
on the movie
Yeah.
screen kind of bit into, some good nostalgia for me.
Perfect. Yeah.
The Hobbs and Shaw factor, I mean, you are not alone. I mean, we both like it. It's in the middle
Yeah.
for us, but you're the third person in a row to have it last. Like, it just hasn't, I don't know if it's too new. I don't know if it's too different, but it really hasn't connected with people in a way that I think people were probably hoping it to.
I liked it as a standalone action film, but like especially after Furious 7 again pretty recently, and also Fate of the Furious, the thing that I have the hardest issue getting my head around is just how quickly Hobbs and Shaw get buddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Justice for Han. I know.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like standalone action film, I'm like, yes, this is great. Especially the final action sequence on the island. That's pretty awesome. But
Right.
like within the context of the whole Fast and Furious franchise, it's like I gotta put it at the bottom.
I wonder if that must be. I feel like that's just there's too much pressure on it. Like even though it's just like the Fast and Furious presents, it's like coming from this world. It has a tall order. I mean, just like the same with the sequels, but like I feel like the sequels are always going to be like it's almost like to compare it again to the MCU, like we always do. Like the sequels are all like the Avengers movies. Like okay, we know that these are going to be good, but like a standalone, like we don't know if Ant-Man's going to be good or not. And you see, you're like, yeah, it's fun,
True.
but like as part of a whole, it's a different thing. So it's a tall order.
Yeah.
Do you think, and I don't know, I don't have an answer to this question myself, when I think they've announced that they're doing a Hobbs and Shaw 2. When that one comes out, do you think that there is a way that you could like the first one more in retrospect after you see like where it's going into?
Probably within the context of Hobbs and Shaw being its own kind of standalone thing, I could probably go back and say that I could enjoy it more. They definitely set it up to be its own spin on the Fast and Furious formula, more into the action/sci-fi elements that
Sure.
you can't really touch into with a franchise that's pretty rooted into tuner culture and car racing. Oh yeah, and like that totally reminded me of like, especially when the trailers were initially coming out, seeing Idris Elba's character basically set up as he's a superhuman-esque kind of baddie with either this crazy tech or something. And then when you like watch the movie, you're like, yeah, this is still kind of hard to grasp.
It's out there.
I mean, we're all superhumans now, so
I mean, because and we want to see where 9 goes, but like we're not huge fans of 8. Like just 8 feels like a little bit lacking. I think in your rankings you had that 6. So it's not, it's maybe a little bit higher than some other people, but you're still kind of right there, like on a lower level. But we're kind of hoping that where 9 goes, maybe it raises 8, because we talk a lot about how like Cypher's kind of a lackluster villain. But if they do more with her in 9, it's going to make us like 8 more, I think. And the same thing with Hobbs and Shaw. Like if that ties back in, if they're setting things up for a future payoff, like we might have to reevaluate everything.
I think that's your question, though. I like it. I think that in retrospect, I've had a lot of Fast and Furious movies become way more enjoyable for me with new ones being released. Like, I wasn't as sold on 4 when it came out, but now watching it again over and over in this context, I'm like, holy shit, 4 like changed the game. You know what I mean? Like, this really was like the foundation for everything that we get now. Even if you didn't like Hobbs and Shaw, I think like if they keep going with them and make a couple more, you'd be like, oh damn, like I see what they were starting here.
One of the best things about the franchise as a whole is that they continue to build on the lore. Like initially it was like just LA, and then it was Miami, and then Tokyo Drift was kind of like we're taking a hard left drift turn. When you take all of the parts and put it into the whole, like each of the kind of story elements and all of the locations that they've been to build up to create this kind of immersive action universe, at least for me. And seeing all of these little payoffs and all of these little bits and everything pretty much add up to where the franchise is right now has been pretty cool. I'm still kind of bummed that they moved F9 out to next year, just because I was getting pretty hyped about Justice for Han, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it next March.
Because of the way that we do the podcast, like if it goes straight to VOD, like we could cover it like 6 weeks in a row. Like we could just keep doing it because like we just have it at our disposal. Like like go frame by frame, like way sooner. So like I want to see it in the theater. I want to go back to that time, but like if not, like for the sole purpose of like what we do here, like just give it as soon as possible in whatever format possible. Just please let us see that movie because we're all excited for it. Some either or questions. These might be easy. These might be difficult. There's no wrong answers. This is just who you are, who Jeff is, kind of within the scope of the Fast and Furious. And we're going to, at the end of the show, we're going to do a BuzzFeed style, J14 style personality quiz, find out which family member you are. But that's later. This, just some either or questions, no wrong answers. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
So if you want to give explanations, you can. If you want to just keep the mystery intact, whatever. But the first question, are you more of a Brian or a Dom?
Brian.
Yeah.
Now, about Brian, do you think he's a good cop or a bad cop? And this one I want a little bit of explanation on.
I want to say he's a good cop.
Okay.
He straddles that line of he's trying to do the right thing, but he'll do it. I don't want to say at any cost, because that's more of Dom. But,
okay.
But does he do the right thing?
A loaded question.
Dramatic pause, because nobody knows. We don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
This is just something we argue about all the time.
You've made me think and pause. I don't know. This might like haunt me until the end of my days.
Yeah, next time you watch through, think to yourself: is Brian a good cop or is he a bad cop?
I mean, this
And
is
you'll
the
get many
conversation that he
different
has with
answers.
Mia in 4. Are you the good guy pretending to be the bad guy?
exactly.
But it's like bigger than that, because like, are you a good cop or you bad? Because like, he's good at his job, but is he a good cop?
Yeah, that's a good way to put that question.
It's tough.
I guess part of my answering comes from like I just recently rewatched Training Day, and
Okay.
so
Yeah.
that kind of illustrated where my answer was coming from. I mean, yeah, within the context of is he an actual good cop? Yeah, I
Yep.
can. You've given me something to think about.
Okay.
No worries, man.
Easier question. Are you more of a Mia or a Letty?
I'd say Letty.
Wow. Okay.
Damn.
We've had a couple
Nice.
Lettys lately, which is a change of pace, turning
It
the
is.
tide.
Part of that comes from my wife.
Okay.
If you had asked this question to me back in high school, like 15 years ago, I would have said Mia, but my wife has rubbed off on me quite a
Oh,
lot. So,
He's a Letty.
yeah.
so this is not a question we've asked before, and I don't know that we could ask it of everybody, but do you think that the two of you, are you more like a Brian and Mia or a Dom and Letty? Or are you someone else altogether in the franchise?
We're a Dom and a Letty.
Joe, what are you? What are you and Rachel? Are you Brian and Mia or are you Dom and Letty? You're not Dom and Letty. I don't know even why I'm asking.
I'm Han and Giselle, bro.
That's also not true, but I appreciate the answer.
I mean, obviously, that's it.
All right, now, Jeff, are you more of a Roman or a Tej?
I'd say Tej.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Tej.
This is one of our newer ones, and this is, again, going
What
to
is
the movie
it?
that you're not necessarily a fan of. Are you more of a Hobbs or a Shaw?
I'd say Hobbs.
Wow, okay.
Both of them come off as a little bit hard-nosed, smart alecky. I don't know, maybe this is too much illustrated by how I've taken the Deckard Shaw character in my own mind, but I really wouldn't associate myself with them.
That's fair. No, I appreciate it. It's not always that you're more like one. It might be that you're less like the other, right? So
Yeah,
if you
exactly,
don't want to
yeah.
be a Shaw, by process of elimination, you're a Hobbs. So I get that.
There you go.
Now, I know the answer because you said this earlier. Are you more of, or maybe things have changed since high school, I don't know, but are you more a fan of American muscle or imports?
Imports still,
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite?
Growing up and then, seeing the first Fast and Furious, that R34 Skyline GTR, that's chef's kiss material right there.
Do you own an import, or we'll get to a Barbie dream car in a second, but do you own an import?
I do not. We're currently carless right now. Fortunately, got into an accident.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry, brother.
Yeah, we've been carless. We've been looking at new cars and I'm thinking about getting the Civic hatchback.
Those are really cool. The new Civics are really cool. I like them a lot.
Yeah, the new hatchbacks are looking pretty
Yeah.
sick.
You gonna get it black with a green underglow?
I would love a black with a green underglow and then murdered out tint.
Just tell your
Place
wife,
they should do in the dash.
we just need 3 of them. Just, I know that we're carless, but like, there's no better time to have 3 cars than when, we're buying
Exactly.
Civics,
Uh-huh.
spoon engines, all that sort of stuff. Are you more a fan of Corona or Belgian ale?
Corona.
Cool. Are you more of a racer or a designer? If we're pulling a job, are you out in the field or are you back in HQ? Are you the man in the chair?
I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit of both, but if I have to pick one, I'd
You could say
I'm a
both. I mean,
racer.
it's basically a choose your own adventure where you can always kick down a third invisible door.
Yeah, let's kick down the invisible door
Cool.
and go with both. Comes down to like whatever the context of the mission is or whatever.
Nice.
We're pulling a job. Joe and I are like, we need to go in the back. We need to steal this beast of an engine that they're keeping in a cage. Damn shame, right? We're going to jump it
Yeah.
from one to the other. We're like, Jeff, we need you to go out there. We need 5 minutes of distraction. We need 3 minutes of distraction. We need you to sing a song karaoke style. What song are you singing?
It's probably I Want It That Way from the Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
Perfect.
Only because I sang that at a middle school talent show.
Perfect.
So I can always fall back on that as an experience to keep myself grounded while you're both doing your thing.
I didn't even have to ask you to tell me why. You just did. Tell me
It's so
why.
Nice.
All right, so now we are successful. You're singing. Actually, Joe, I'm waiting for like the first time we have, like, we might never have the same answer distraction song. I'm still waiting for like 2 people to give the same song. We have not. We've gotten
We
like
do not. And it's
more than a dozen
wild.
songs, and they're
That's
all
crazy.
wild all over the place.
Yeah, they're all like multiple genres, years, time, everything. Yeah.
So we're successful in the job. The 3 of us, we go to Vegas, we go to Rio, we go to Monte Carlo, we go wherever. We go to the casino. We go to the roulette table. Are you going to put it all on black? Or are you putting it all on red?
Black.
Okay. Any reason?
Just cause.
Okay.
We have a large majority of black choosers, huh?
I think it's mostly because of, and like that's why Dan last time said red, because the Wesley Snipes always bet on black. Like it incepted something into people's brains, I think.
Yeah.
Next job, we have to fly to an island. We have to fall onto an island just like in this movie. Or, like at the end of the last movie, we have to drive a car into a plane. Would you rather, knowing you're safe either way, have to drive a car on a long runway into a plane before it takes off, or drive a car out of a plane with a GPS-guided parachute to land on the ground? You're going to be safe either way. Which adrenaline rush do you want? Into a plane or out of a plane?
We're driving out. We're driving out of the plane in the middle of the freaking sky.
Very, very,
Are
very
you
cool.
driving out, or are you getting Roman sucked out?
I'm driving out.
Is there a reason why in this movie they go out backwards? Is there something science about that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think they just had to pull the cars in frontward,
Okay.
get on faster, and so they're just like, I mean, you're just gonna fall anyways. Like, what does it matter, right?
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's fair. It feels weird because you almost want to like. I also just because I just saw Mission Impossible Fallout again for the Cruise Club. The movie's so goddamn good, but just watching them like do the halo jump and run out and jump, I'm like, it kind of feels weird to sort of tumble backwards out of the car. But you know,
Yeah, it would feel jarring to your body.
I mean, all of it's going to feel jarring,
Yeah, but like your motion, like I think that I would get sicker going backwards, right?
probably. All right, Jeff, is the word oil one syllable or two?
One.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
We had such an overwhelming lead for two because this has been like an argument of mine even before without Joe, but like for like 12 years, and we had such an overwhelming two, and like literally the last six people have all said one, and so my lead is dissipating. I can tell you that much.
Good.
You had me like silently mouthing out oil.
That's usually how it
for a
works.
second.
Our newest question. You come visit us, and we're like, Jeff, we got to take you to this place. You're gonna love it. It's got wooden tables, it's got little red candles, it's got plantains, it's got food all over the place. What is the phrase to you? What does the phrase "food all over the place" mean in describing a restaurant?
Huh. I guess, I mean, in the context of a restaurant, food all over the place.
Yeah,
mean
it's got food all over the place.
all sorts of different cuisines.
Okay.
Oh,
That's at least the first thing that comes to my mind.
First thought, best thought. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't get that one yet.
The reason we ask is because each episode of the podcast, we're going through the first movie and we're doing 1 minute, like basically the Star Wars minute, but with the Fast and Furious.
Okay.
And we're breaking it down and we're really over analyzing everything. And so, Vince comes into the kitchen and he's antagonizing the two of them.
Mhm.
Mia asks what the restaurant is that he wanted to take her to. And she describes it by saying, the one with food all over the place. And we're like, what does that mean? We've now covered the minute where they have the date. We still don't really know.
No.
So we're just trying. This is like one where like we need a solid from someone. Like if we ever get to talk to Jordana Brewster, like the first question is just like, Jordana, what the fuck does food all over the place mean?
I hope you get that mystery solved.
I like your take. You took it to mean the food is all over the
It's
place.
from all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, the food is all over the place. There's all kinds of different foods there. I like that. That's an interesting new interpretation.
Maybe we could have known if we saw them eating dinner instead of just the coffee prolonging the end of the date. Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Now I think I know where this is going based on where you live, but In-N-Out or Whataburger?
In-N-Out.
Yep.
Amen.
Would you rather die in a fiery explosion or drowning in icy water?
I'd go with the fiery explosion.
It's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
It should look badass, right?
Drowning just seems a little too prolonged.
I get it.
Let me go out in a blaze of glory.
Literally. No context. Revenge of the Nerds or The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight.
Okay. And then the final question might be difficult, might not be difficult. I don't know. Do you have a favorite character in the franchise?
I would say Brian.
Brian, nice.
Very cool.
We actually don't get a lot of Brians for Brian being it being his story, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't get a lot of Brians.
My favorite is Brian or Han. And we get a lot of Hans because Han is the coolest. But yeah, Brian is few and far between. But just the way that he just drives, like this is his story, right? So
Yeah.
that's very, very cool. To kick off the conversation about this movie, there's 3 questions. You can answer 1, you can answer 2, you can answer all 3, whatever you want. Do you have a favorite car movie that's not in the Fastiverse? Do you have a favorite car or car stunt in this movie? And then going back to the conversation we had a little bit ago, do you have a Barbie dream car? Like if money was no object, if you and your wife won the lottery tonight and you're like, okay, we're getting that new car, the car that I've always wanted, what car is that? So favorite car movie, that's not a Fast and Furious movie. Favorite car or car stunt in Furious 7, and then Barbie dream car.
Favorite car movie that isn't part of the Fast universe. It might be just a little too on the recency bias side. I'd say Baby Driver.
Okay.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Partially because like Ansel Elgort's like one of my favorite actors, but
Okay.
I really enjoyed just that whole experience. Favorite stunt from Furious 7, the car drop from the plane.
Sure. Yeah.
It's top tier.
Let's just go into Azerbaijan. Basically, Halo drop cars.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. And obviously the stunt in between the 3 buildings in Abu Dhabi is up there. When I was rewatching it, I totally forgot that there was the 3rd building that they were gonna just drive into. You know, when Dom's like, the brakes are out, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that there is another building that they're gonna crash into.
Yeah, we have to do this again. That's
Exactly.
right. It's the only way you can one up it in Fast and the Furious world is like just to do it twice.
Yeah. But yeah, those are like the 2 that stick out in my mind, but I definitely go with the car Halo jump.
I think there's another one, and I mean, we've talked about this moment a lot, but one of my favorite car stunts, and it's not as maybe breathtaking as those, but them passing Ramsey from one car to the other is just still so cool. It's so weird, like that's like a thing that they dreamt up, but like watching her get passed from one car to the other, we're like, oh yeah, like that's so precise.
And this time, you know which scene I was loving?
What's that?
Was the bus sliding to the edge of the cliff.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a original OG Italian job.
Little Italian job in there for me. And I was like, this is, I like that.
Too slow.
I gotta say, the other kind of car action scene that got me pretty hyped, but also elicited a chuckle, was when Shaw and Dom face off, and they basically like old school knights charging at each other, but we're in hunks of metal.
Yeah.
And then Dom gets, I don't know how you describe it.
I think it's very sexual.
Yeah.
He tops him. He like pins him with his car. I was arguing with Joey a couple episodes ago that like anytime that there's like racing or cars, it's very sexual in the Fast and Furious. He said not every time, but like look at this one and tell me this isn't just like 2 oiled up men wrestling, right?
The context is there.
The takeaway for me in this one is that they're both those cars are 100% death proof. Like those are just when they go at each other, like they should both be dead. And no. Also, when they're on the like after they land, right, and they're doing the chase, all the cars are bulletproof, but I guess Tej's is more bulletproof because they're like, Tej, cover, and like he goes to the front. Brian, to get into the bus, right, like kicks out his windshield. I'm like, dude, that's the only thing between you and like a whole bunch of bullets. Like I know that like they've taken down some of the attackers or whatever, but like that's a very dangerous thing you're doing.
Is he a good cop or a bad cop?
I mean, that's just that's a bad father and husband. Like he's got a baby and another one in the way, and whew.
That's just bad judgment.
He was missing the bullets, man. He was missing the bullets.
And then, Jeff, do you have a Barbie dream car? Like, if money was no object, is it a tuner? Is it something else? What would be if money was no object? What's your dream car?
Either the new NSX or the new Supra.
Okay.
Oh, you like the new Supra?
I do like the new Supra.
I think it's pretty cool.
If you had asked me this question again, like back in middle school or high school, I again would have said like, give me the R34 Skyline GTR. Yeah. And that was like way before Nissan had brought in like their like new gen Skyline at the time. It would have been like what I'm feeling that particular day, because like I loved the WRX STI. I loved
STIs are cool. Yep.
Like the Evo 7 and Evo 8.
Yep, huge fan. The Evos were always super cool to me. Those were like some of my favorite cars.
Yeah, the Evo in Too Fast, Too Furious, I don't know why, but I took such a strong liking to that. Like I even got like the little diecast.
Oh, nice
car. Like when I found it, like I think like a Target or something. I was like, I need that.
Well, trust me, we have lots of Fast and Furious memorabilia all over our houses too. So don't.
Yep. All right. So now, Jeff, Furious 7. Why did you want to talk about this movie? This movie is very high on your list. What do you love about this movie? What made you pick this movie? What about Furious 7 strikes your fancy?
It's 2 different aspects. One, it's that kind of transition from the usual craziness of each Fast and Furious movie into just, all right, we're full on going into action, adventure, completely blown out. And then obviously the next movie just goes beyond that. And then the other aspect, and it's the close of Brian's kind of story. And so there's like a lot of sentimental parts related to that. I still get teary-eyed at the end of the movie. It's really hard to just not get through it without feeling like somebody's cutting up a bunch of onions. It's
Rachel can't hear the song. Like a lot of us now, when we hear "See You Again," It
Yeah.
gets me going like in a store,
It's pretty impactful how they finished not just his kind of story, but also wrapped up that movie pretty tastefully. And I think like my favorite part was like at the very end they fade to white instead of fading to black like I guess you would usually do in a film. And I
Yeah.
thought that was just like a really nice touch.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time, especially recently, talking about what Furious 7 could have been or should have been, and we had a guest on here a while ago talking about how she didn't like this movie because
Mhm.
she felt like they had to retrofit too many different things, like when Paul died while they were filming. A couple episodes ago we read this whole thing that Chris Morgan said like they didn't actually have to change that much, like that they were basically like they had to change a few things, of course, but pretty much they told the story they wanted to tell, but in a different way. But I think similar to what you said, like it's kind of a movie in transition. Like they're going from one thing to a next, from one type of movie to a next, one narrator, one protagonist to another, kind of, right?
And I kind of like what you were saying too, that I kind of do like the tonal shifts in this one. And I think that they tried to recreate some of those in 8. And maybe that's what we're not liking about the tonal shifts in 8. But like, you're right. Like, because we're coming off of 5, it's like fast. And we're coming off of 6, same thing, like action. And then you get to 7, but you have to have these somber moments, and people like really related to that. And I think they tried to recreate some of those in 8. There's no actual backing to it. There's no foundation to those feelings. So
Yeah.
it feels kind of lost on me.
And I think like for 8, they kind of try and tap into that when Elena gets killed off. Like I felt that was just straight up like a little cheap. And I honestly don't know how they would have gone about doing this. Like just some other kind of emotional aspect that would have brought everybody fully invested in, then I think maybe my takeaway from Fate would have been a little bit better. But yeah, I feel like that the emotional impact and kind of trying to address it story wise in 7 hit the mark, at least for me, a lot more than what they tried to do with Fate.
And I think 7 also pivots it into the new narrative, the new arc. Like there's a line that Mr. Nobody says in this movie that like I think we knew about, but it feels like we don't know the full extent. That I don't know if
Is it the War of the Shadows line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, is this what we're
What does
watching?
he say?
Or is this? He says, "Listen, Dom." Like I wrote this down the first time, lap 1 when we did this. I wrote this quote down because I have my notes where everything else is a different color. I don't remember what the colors mean. I just know that black was the default and purple is this lap. Just in case anybody wants to follow along at home. He says, "Listen, Dom. There's a war going on between shadows and ghosts like me. You and your team unwittingly walked into the middle of it in London, and it appears it's now followed you home. It's up to you. I'm going to have a beer. You're welcome to join me. By the way, I can get you Deckard Shaw." And I said, like that's all Dom needs. So if we take that back and we roll that back to 6, they walked into the middle of it in London when they get involved with Owen Shaw, right? Because it's like Owen knows Deckard and they know Cypher. Is whatever shady government organization that Mr. Nobody is involved with, have they been at war with Cypher? I feel like probably, but I also
think
feel like it's
above Cypher, something even greater than that.
But then her work, like it feels like it's kind of swept under the rug. Like it feels like for this whole macro story they're telling, to the point where like in 6 they go back to Braga, right? And Braga's like, "Oh, I know Shaw." It's like, well, you want to tell this like interconnected narrative, and there's this whole like war going on, but I feel like each movie we're just focusing on like one part of it, and I feel if we knew the grand narrative, maybe this would all be even better. But I feel like we're missing things, and I caught that line. I was just wait, what is this about?
I think that they'll wrap it up good in 10. I think that's what they're leading us to, that they're giving us some kind of ultimate resolution, ultimate showdown. That's the only thing I can imagine happening.
Like, yeah, that line totally stuck out to me when I was rewatching too. Kind of helped cement, like, for me, that whole transition of this is a franchise that's pretty focused on, I don't want to say smaller scale, but just like events that happen in certain parts.
The minutia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like looking at individual trees, but now like knowing that the broader narrative is like this entire forest of conspiracies and potentially like Black Ops related stuff or whatever, high tech related stuff, especially with what happens in Fate. It definitely helps move the story and narrative focus that the whole franchise can focus on into something that helps kind of justify the crazier things that they do. Everybody jokes about like they're gonna go to space at some point. Yeah, like the way that the narrative is heading and the way that they just set it up in terms of this is no longer just about street racing in downtown LA and kind of just like a underground sting operation with LAPD and local racers. It's you kind of have to just go balls out and then maybe you are going to end up in space.
Do you think that they at least have to give us a nod in 10? They're like, Tej is like, we need a satellite. Dom's like, no, we're not going to space.
Oh, they got it,
Yeah,
100%.
right.
Like, there's definitely gonna be some sort of like fan service. If it's not like a car being launched into like the high limits of the atmosphere, there's got to be some sort of play for fan service.
I mean, now, and I don't remember if we talked about it on this podcast. I know for sure we've talked about it on Cruise Club, but like now that Tom Cruise has signed on to do a movie filming on the space station, the International Space Station, and not a Mission Impossible movie, like a separate movie, it's like, well, your move, Fast and Furious. Like, we're it is kind of weird to go back to what you were saying earlier, Jeff, about like the minutia. And like, Joe, that was your word. I think it's right. Like, it almost feels like this is just like they're saving the world in every movie, but it's almost like it's a series of the Rogue One movie where it's like you're not fighting the war. You're just like one little part of the war. But like to us, if this is the most important thing in the world, because these are the people that we're watching. But like weirdly enough, dumbly enough, for spy racers, where like there's this whole organization of like nobodies and nowheres and nothings and whatever. Mr. Nobody might have like a bunch of teams that he's handling. Like he's not just only,
or he might be one part leader of one team and there's 20 of them. And either ranking wise you want to do it. Yeah.
And so I kind of want to know the scale, but I don't know how you do that.
You'd make more spin-offs. That's exactly how you do it.
I wondered in this movie also, like when they show the garage in Abu Dhabi, I know that they just show them all around the world. Like we see the garage in Tokyo, we see the garage in Miami, whatever. But I wondered if that was almost like they try to do like a backdoor pilot, like kind of like the Abu Dhabi version of Roman, like that guy who like is like, I wonder if they were trying to like, hey, if this guy takes off, maybe we'll do like an Abu Dhabi Fast and Furious.
Ooh, I would really like a Middle Eastern version of Fast and the Furious.
That would be pretty dope.
Really cool.
Yeah,
there's just like alternate Dom. Like we get like all of the characters, but they're just like the Abu Dhabi versions of all of them. I think that would be really interesting.
One of the cool things that the entire franchise does is like it takes you all over the world into all of these great locales, but too like the cast itself is pretty diverse.
Yeah,
and like with each and every additional movie, like they just add more awesome characters from folks of color, and like I feel like that's the next kind of step where it becomes something that's more
actually diverse.
Yeah, it feels like it connects more with like certain aspects of the world, but still kind of reaches that kind of broad appeal of like it's part of the Fast and Furious universe.
Like a full Bollywood Fast and the Furious.
Isn't that Doom? That's Doom, isn't it?
I know, but I mean like I want like Dom to be the creative director, like Vin Diesel to be the creative director.
Wait, do you think Doom, I don't know what Doom means, but do you think Doom was named Doom because it's similar to Dom?
Probably.
Well, maybe, but probably not. Who knows?
When I was watching it this time, though, the thing that I didn't remember and I had a question was, did Mr. Nobody die? And I didn't remember his resolution. Like, I remember him getting shot. I remember him telling Dom about the Belgian ale, like, you really got to try it. And then for some reason, my brain couldn't tell you what happened after that.
Well, he shows up in 8.
Yeah, but still, okay, he shows up in 8, but what does that mean? And we've seen these, it's all one story. So, like, I don't know when that happens.
It was really awkward for me, the way they just left him. They literally stop on the side of the road and leave him chilling at a rock while he's waiting for, I guess, his medevac helicopter to come in. And then that's literally the resolution of his kind of through line in the movie. It felt a little weird, like if they were going to continue that, and like obviously they did in the next movie, but
so abrupt.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty abrupt.
It's the movie's way of just like him. He's like, I got a whole med team. Like, basically, like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm just like, my purpose in this movie is done. Just put me on the side of the road. I'm not going to die. I'm
essentially
good.
Killed him off, but him being like, it'll be all right. And like they can bring him back if they want. They can let him die if they want. Like, something went bad when he got surgered. You know, like when he had surgery.
Not exactly in a similar way, but thinking about tying this movie into future movies and just thinking about how the narrative has evolved. Like at the beginning of this movie, we have Owen and Deckard, right? Dex talking to Owen in bed, like, I'm going to avenge you, whatever. I was wondering if we're ever going to have like in 9 or beyond, like what if we go to like, what if 9 opens with like Dom by Jacob's bed or something, or Jacob by, you know what I mean? Like we could have a narrative there too. Like
but we saw them fighting in the trailer already.
But that might be current. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't bet on it, but I feel like that would probably be a pretty good entry point into the movie. Just like there's something there between Jacob and Dom that they're going to stage before the opening credits roll. and then that's how we're gonna get into the story.
I want like a nice shot of Dom as a child, like a little bald child running, and like Jacob's like, muscle cars are lame, and like takes it from him. And Dom's like, that's my Charger. And like, that's how it starts.
He like ruins his entire Hot Wheels collection, and that's
Yeah.
the whole start of this movie.
Exactly. Like, you'll never be a race car driver.
Actually, Jeff, that's actually a good question. I mean, in terms of 9, in terms of looking ahead to 9, you said you were excited for it. What do you think of Han being back, number 1? And also, number 2, what do you think of the whole new, like, the fact that they reveal, like, Jacob is Dom's brother, and then, like, the trailer's not even over, like, by the way, Han's back. Like, it's 2 insane reveals in the same 4-minute trailer. But, like, what do you think of those 2 kind of game-changing, earth-shattering reveals?
It's a bunch of crazy reveals, like
Right?
Drift King's back, and all of the other kind of stuff that I like read about afterwards. Like,
Earl.
when I saw Han in the trailer, the first thing that came to mind was like, how did he survive? And then secondly, I was like, yes, he's back. That's awesome. That was my biggest question, like how they're going to address what happened in Tokyo. Now that they delayed the movie, it's prime conspiracy / fan theory material that won't get resolved until next year. But
I
that was
know.
like my biggest takeaway. For Jacob, it's also related. It's like I want to know the backstory there. I want to know why he's just decided to come back into the mix of things, what the relationship was like between Dom and Jacob that either led them to fall out or whatever happened. The way that they address them in the movie will make it sink or swim. Honestly, I think if it's too ham-fisted, it might not be something that I look back on like after watching the movie and I'm like, yeah, that was good.
I mean, I guess like what we're afraid of, and I think what everybody's on some level afraid of, is like, could it undermine the dramatic tension of earlier movies? Like to a certain extent, like when Han comes back, it sort of undermines Tokyo Drift, but the fact that they are able to retrofit that kind of makes it cool. But like, if they do this wrong, all that sadness and all that pain that we felt for Han and Giselle, it's like, what was that for?
Exactly.
Well, now that we're talking about this was the first time watching this movie since we've seen the trailer, right?
Is it?
Maybe not.
Time
is a flat circle.
Time is real weird. Hold on, let me just see here real quick. Furious 7, the last time we did Furious 7, end of December. When did the trailer come out? Oh, I guess it was.
Right?
God, oh man.
January?
The trailer came out Super Bowl weekend.
Okay.
End of January, beginning of February. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this is the first time watching this.
Wow.
Now having seen the trailer,
my mind is blown. I just want you to know, like, just based on the, like you just said, like, we haven't seen this movie since December. It's like, wait, what? Okay, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I'm like watching it this time, and now I'm watching it to see if they gave themselves an out when you see Han car crashed, right? If you watch this, the scene in this movie again, that we've seen the scene a million times now, but they have it, and you see Statham call Dom, and they cut back to Han, and Han is trying to climb out of the car. You know, like we were like, oh, we don't see a body, but like Han's dead. And then they have a funeral for Han, but they don't get his body, right?
Exactly.
Does Dom know from the time he goes to Japan, time he goes to Tokyo, in this movie, basically right after Tokyo Drift ends, so like 7 Earth years ago or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, does Dom know from that moment that Han is still alive? And why does he not say anything to anybody? Does Letty know? Like, why does Deckard, who seems like the most ruthless, relentless, don't stop until the job is done guy in this entire franchise, why does he assume that like an exploded car killed his Mark? Like, why wouldn't he go over and put a bullet into his head? You know what I mean? Like, why does he walk away like a movie villain?
He call Dom and flex on him.
I don't know.
He got lost in the sauce. He's trying to call Dom. He's too into it. He thinks that he did his job, and he got sloppy one time. All it takes is one mistake.
Oof.
It's crazy, though. I was really paying attention this time, because I was like, okay, is Han like dead? And no, he's like still like climbing out of the car at the end. So
they left themselves an out.
They left themselves an out for sure.
What struck me this time, in the beginning of the movie, Hobbs gives the letter of recommendation to Elena. He goes back upstairs. He sees Shaw on the computer. They fight, right? Shaw's getting the transfer. And then we see on the screen, file transfer complete, or whatever, right? And it's Han's face. And I was wondering if there was another face on the screen, would somebody else have been dead? Like, I know it's on the screen because that's where the narrative is saying, but like coincidentally, like if it had landed on like Brian, although I guess he knows where everybody is because they leave the bomb at 1327. So he probably knows everyone, but it just feels like, it almost feels like a luck of it, like a roll of the dice that Han got killed. But I don't know, maybe not.
I don't have any theories on this.
I got nothing either.
None of us haven't. I mean, it's all speculation now. I wonder, like, at some point when they're like, okay, this is the last movie. Like, we know that there's going to be more spin-offs, but like, this is the last movie that like you're going to get any answers on. Like, at some point we're going to be like, okay, until then, we're going to speculate until.
And even after, they can like throw shit into the side ones to like explain stuff that they didn't get to.
Mm-hmm.
Keep us going to see them forever.
2 questions about the Dom returning to Tokyo scene. Number 1, where's Chrissy Teigen?
Dang.
I was hoping that she was in this too.
Wouldn't it be really funny if they're like,
her.
I'm also, oh, by the way, I'm also in Furious 7. It's like, wait, what? Why? She's like, well, they returned to the parking garage. It's like, oh, right. Yes, of course.
He's still there. Yeah.
We're like, oh, we knew Chrissy was family. But number 2, we see at the end of Tokyo Drift, Dom says he comes up there, they're going to race, right? And then in this one, Sean says, Han said you was fast, but not that fast. And then he says, who said American Muscle can't drift? Are we to believe, it could go either way, but do you guys think, did Dom win? Or do you think Dom just came close enough? Because it's like he was
Dom
using.
won.
You think he won?
Dom
Yeah,
won, hands down.
I think he won.
He wins everything. He's never lost.
Because it's almost like the kind of thing where you can see. Well, I know that's true, but like. It's the kind of thing where he's in the Charger and like he shouldn't win. He shouldn't even have a chance of winning if he comes close. It's like, oh, like you can run, but I'm wearing jeans and like I almost beat you. It's like, It kind of leaves it open to that. Like it's not definitive, but like
my shoes have no grip.
Right. But yeah, we have to assume that Dom won.
Yeah, I think he might have brute forced a couple of those corners.
So he pulled it off like Sean did the first time, but just maybe with a little bit more grace and finesse.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think he kind of bullied him.
Is Dom just carrying a sledgehammer from scene to scene in this movie? Because he has it at Letty's grave, and then when he shows up to fight Shaw for the first time, he takes the sledgehammer, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Character traits, bro. He needs to level up his sledgehammer. He's only at like a level 5 sledgehammer. He's trying to get more points for it.
The sledgehammer at the grave scene was a little too much for me. I gotta say, I was like, that's a little drastic, Dom. you can't just bash a gravestone like that.
You know, I'll allow you, movie, to jump cars out of a plane, but this is a bridge too far.
No.
Jeff, while we break down the movie minute by minute, the first movie, we have the Fast and Furious minute document, which is now probably 140 pages long in Google Docs, and it's obsessively detailed for no reason. Like there's no payoff to it. But there's a compliment, sort of as a compliment, that Mr. Nobody gives Dom in this movie when they talk for the first time, and he just says, your file's not only detailed, it's extremely entertaining. And I was like, that's like the ideal pull quote. Like, if we ever turn this into a book, like we want that quote on the cover. Like we could even use that quote, but be like, Mr. Nobody to Dominic Toretto. We can have that like really small font.
We could just say Mr. Nobody. Yeah, and then to Dominic Toretto, like really, really small.
Yeah.
Like it's like his quote like about the book. Or these guys just seem like double alphas instead of Tyrese.
Jeff, is there anything else? What else about this movie do you want to talk about? Is there stuff about this that you don't like? Like what holds us back from being, I mean, it might just be the fact that it's not the nostalgia of the earlier ones, but what about this? Is there things about this that you don't like, aside from the sledgehammer at the graveyard scene?
The last action sequence, I mean, that might be a little too spicy. Like, it definitely draws you in, and it's action-packed. We have Hobbs with the machine gun. You have the helicopter with the machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
You have the helicopter chasing Dom as he's trying to drive out of the collapsing parking garage. I think there was a weird moment of kind of action disbelief that these two kind of events were going on concurrently. Because like the way that the scenes are cut, like you're going back and forth between, like, I don't know, for a little bit between Hobbs firing the machine gun at the helicopter, we transition to the chase scene, and then it goes back to the machine gun exchange between the two. That was probably the one kind of moment of dissonance for me for that whole action sequence. Like backtracking a little bit more, like when they just introduced that little UAV drone, I totally understood its purpose in the narrative. But if they had this piece of technology earlier, they should have used it.
Yeah.
That was like one other little gripe, but like I think they pulled all the stops, and I think you kind of have to for this supposed like big showdown between Shaw and the whole squad, and then him like bringing in his backup. There's a full-on assault helicopter just hovering around downtown LA.
There's actually something in that final sequence, or that sequence, that struck me kind of weird is that
They're all doing terrible acting jobs in that one moment.
no, not that. I still, don't fully agree with you about you railing on Brian literally minutes before he's about to be gone from screen forever.
Maybe, okay, can we just blame his brother then? Can we just be like, okay, that was his brother or something?
I mean, they said they did the action scenes, right? That might have been Paul.
Breathe, Dom! Just breathe! Just breathe!
I chalk it up to his brother.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
back
we
you
can
up
just
on
blame
that.
his brother. Thank you.
They're chasing after Ramsey and they shoot and they blow up the car. We see that they had done the switcheroo, right? And we're like, oh,
Mhm.
Ramsey's safe. The speed at which they quote unquote kill Ramsey and then bring her back to life and then fully understand what they did is just like, wait, what? Like, it's just like they switched the car out, sir. It's like you didn't even give us time to like worry about her. It's just like in the span of like 8 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's nothing. It's like, what? What? Why? What?
That was movie time, just for the sake of it.
We not give the movies shit, but we like wonder if they've pulled the like back from the dead card too soon because like Letty came back from the dead and Han
Yeah.
came back from the dead and
Mhm.
people are getting revived in these movies and everybody's back and it's like you didn't even give us time to grieve.
Hey, it's how it works sometimes.
When they brought Letty back, that was probably the kind of jump the shark situation where you have a fan favorite character and you've brought her back, and so I don't think there's any other kind of emotional moment that would have the same sort of impact or payoff. The obvious one, and there's no way in hell they would do it, would be bringing Brian back, right? But that would just be utterly disrespectful.
Well, it seems like they might be though.
Yeah, his
Oh.
brother's been on set a lot.
Yeah, I read about that too, and I'm like really hoping that it's something else. But it would feel weird, right? It
would feel really weird.
Absolutely.
We already had our goodbyes, and then you ruin the goodbye of 7. It's like
Yeah.
you really tarnish 7 if you do that.
there's no other way to kind of top off killing off a main character like Letty and then bringing her back unless you go one up above that, and the one above that is Brian.
Yeah, it'd have to be
Yeah.
Brian or Dom. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They want the movies to have shock value and empathy, and they want you to feel something, but like you can't kill anybody, right? Like everybody, we're too.
We had to start killing people, dude. I've said this a million times. We
I know.
gotta start getting rid of some. It's just too many at this point. Not in a bad way. I love all of them, but like somebody gotta go.
Family's a little too big.
Family's
It's
a little too big.
It is.
Jeff, any other thoughts? Any other moments? Anything else you want to bring up about the movie before we find out what character you are and play a couple other games?
I think that's it for me. The two main things for me watching Furious 7 a few times, like one, yeah, it's the transitional bridge for me that sets up everything in terms of being much more action oriented. But yeah, it's also just the emotional payoff and impact at the end that the movie has. That it's definitely a case of bias for me. Definitely wraps up everything neatly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It wraps things up, and then it's like okay, this package is nicely, neatly wrapped up, and then this one we're just going to tear open. It's like we have the one thing done, and then here's another mess that we're getting into. So yeah, I never thought about it like that. I think that's weirdly kind of. It's not similar or different from Kate's, but it kind of could go hand in hand with Kate's theory about what this movie is.
What?
It was meant to maybe be one thing, it wound up being another, but it's the okay, we're going to finish this story and we're beginning something new. And I think even just that, like, I wonder. Even if Chris Morgan says they didn't really rewrite things, like I just can't get that like War of Shadows line out of my brain. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they had some deep planning going on there. And now that you bring it up, I'm definitely thinking about it too.
Joe, any other thoughts? Any other notes that you took this time around?
No, I dropped in all my thoughts as we were
Cool.
going.
All right. So now, Jeff, we're going to find out which character you are. We have 7 questions. There
Okay.
are 6 answers for each question. We have 20 different possibilities. BuzzFeed style, you can do, again, no wrong answers. I mean, we've had really good successes with like who people wind up being, but answer truthfully, answer who you want to be, whatever makes sense to you. Again, no wrong answers, but are you ready to find out which family member you are?
Let's do it.
Question number 1, how fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter?
I'd go roller coaster.
Okay. Pretty fast. Now, question number 2, you know it's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one movie set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
I'd go Kylo Ren.
Really? Again, this is one where just like you don't seem that furious, but
Yeah,
It's brooding. It's a brooding Kylo.
okay.
I like it.
All right, Jeff, we're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you manning the grill? Are you saying grace? Are you kicking back with a beer? Are you babysitting? Are you being the entertainment? Or are you sneaking a snack?
I'm on the grill.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
We've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite, working on your car, hanging with friends, drinking a beer, working out, or working on your computer?
I want to say between drinking a beer and working on my computer, since those are two definitely applicable things
Okay.
Mhm.
given the current world situation.
Of course, yeah.
Mhm.
I go with drinking a beer.
Okay.
Nice.
Keep it light.
Jeff, describe your wedding. I mean, this can be either your dream wedding or your actual wedding, however you want to answer this question. I'm never getting married, which I hope is not the answer for your wife's sake.
Or
It's
let's
just-
hope she doesn't hear it if that is
or-
her answer.
Very true, very true. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
I'm going to go with the actual wedding, and it was pretty much just us and our families.
Okay. Jeff, congratulations. You just won the lottery. What are you buying? Your own garage? A private plane? I'm gambling it all away. My childhood home? A fleet of cars? Or a new life?
I'd go with a fleet of cars.
Cool.
Oh,
Last question. It's going to decide everything right now. What is your drink of choice? Belgian ale? Corona? Something fruity? Water? Whatever's cheapest? Or just whatever you're having?
I'd go with Corona.
Okay. Any guesses?
I'm gonna guess Dom.
He wasn't Dom until the very last question. He wound up being Dom, just barely
Oh,
surpassing Brian.
oh.
Ooh, the Corona did it.
At 2 points in the quiz, you had different answers. I don't know if we've ever had them before, but they're going to remain a mystery for now. But here we go. Dominic Toretto, Jeff, let's see if this sounds like you. Okay. Your stoic attitude is intimidating. Your cool demeanor under pressure is inspiring. And your expertise under the hood is envied. But all these pale in comparison to your loyalty to your family. You may claim to live your life a quarter mile at a time, but there's nothing you wouldn't do for the people in your life. And at the end of the day, nothing makes you happier than throwing something on the grill and sharing a few Coronas with your familia. And you drive like the wind blows. Is that you? Does that sound like you?
That sounds like a good chunk of my personality.
Cool.
Perfect. Good.
Who
That's
knew?
all we
Who knew
hope
I
for.
was Dom?
We
You
we have
didn't.
we have a couple Doms. I feel like it's the anger, it's the
Fleet of cars.
and it's the Corona. I think those are three of the ones that it's just.
Really did him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot worse people to be than Dom. Dom's a great
It's
answer.
true.
So now we need to play This Ain't No 10-Second Race, aka Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You. So now, Jeff, the way we play this game is we go on twitter.com. You might be familiar
All right.
with it. We each find any tweet that we think we could reply to from the Too Fast Too Forever Twitter handle with "Boy, do we have a podcast for you," and link them to the show page. And the goal of this game is to get them to like or retweet or reply to the tweet. Basically,
Oh God.
try to encourage people to listen to the show. So while you take the time to find a tweet, if you want to just DM it to me or email it to me, whatever is easiest to get it over to me, just take a couple minutes, find one. But I'm going to review last episode's play. So right now,
Okay.
on Tokyo Drift, we had Dan Hamamura of
Yes.
Pajiba. I found Suko at Suko Jones. It's a horrible injustice that another year has gone by where the precious gorilla that shaped our lives has rotted in jail. Today, let's celebrate his 25th birthday with great hope that we can prove his innocence once and for all. Hashtag Justice for DK, and then a picture of N64 era Donkey Kong tied to a ball and chain. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. I just threw this out there. I was like, it's a dumb tweet, and Suko replied, so I get 5 points.
Oh.
Also, I do want to point out, Jeff, that this game very, very difficult. So, like, assume that you're going to get 0 points. There's no wrong way to play it. But now, Joe, I'm within 5 of you. I mean, you still have to go here, but you're at 25. I'm at 20 and a half. Kara at 14. Mike at 9. Marines and Nicole at 7 and 6. So, there's.
Okay.
I'm catching up slowly but surely.
This ain't no 10-second race.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Okay, Joe, you found Sleezo at Feniopogene. DK in Tokyo Drift is so cool, dog. Boy, do we
We
have a podcast for you. Nothing.
damn.
And then Dan found, which movie is your favorite start to finish, from Zion Chiliamson at PSG Wizard. It was a poll with Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Tokyo Drift, and Fast and Furious. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. It got a like. Who liked it? Oh, Kate Hudson liked it. So
Doesn't count.
Kate's showing some respect, some love to her coworker. Does not count, though. Only 1 for 3, but, the good guys got 5 in that one. I'm making a charge. I'm making a charge.
Okay. My tweet's from Miles at 55_Mr_Fubu. Fast and the Furious movies and Step Up movies are the defining guilty pleasure films.
Oof.
Like, technically they're ass, but they're just so fun that they can't suck.
Boy, do we.
We have a podcast for you, Miles.
2 podcasts for you, really,
That's
right?
what I'm saying, right?
Oh, Twitter changed their whole thing. I forgot. Now you can
saw.
restrict who replies to you and everything like that. So
He loves
cool.
Scott Pilgrim, starter headbands. I think Miles is part of our team. He just doesn't know it yet.
Cool. Jeff, have you found a tweet yet?
This one is from at It's Fuse in Kobo.
Sure.
And they tweeted, Tokyo Drift is the best Fast and Furious film they ever made.
Boy, do we,
We
have a podcast.
have a podcast for you. That's a good one. I was actually going to pick a tweet that was like, Fast and Furious sucks, Tokyo Drift sucks, and they should have stopped after 7. Why are they still making these? But I chose not to give that guy any. With our man Miles here, who's going to reply and be like, oh, damn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not going to do this one, but I'm going to do one that's quoted from this one. So, okay. So Fox 6 Milwaukee posted a thing 2 hours ago, just in.
I saw
The
this.
drive-in movie season starts Friday night in Franklin with Onward and Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. And then Cinders23 says, at The Rock, see you at the drive-in Friday night, inaugural movie Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, smiley face emoji, clapping emoji, heart emoji, hashtag Franklin, Wisconsin, hashtag yay. Well, Cinders, boy, do we have a podcast for you. Cinders, there's nothing that goes along with waiting in a car for a movie than podcast.
Quality podcast.
I thought you were going to do this. My friend just sent me this meme. I'm going to repost it. Like, I just didn't post it because we started recording, like, right as I got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a DM conversation between, like, some guy and Fox 59 News. And it's like, hello, I saw your story on street racing and it compelled me to come forward with some very valuable information. And they're like, feel free to share what you know. And he's like, Hector is going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that, he went into Harry's and bought 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec exhaust system.
Send that to me on Facebook, and I'll add that to the thing. I won't count it for points, but we need to.
It's not a thing. Like, I took a picture. It was like a screenshot of a screenshot. So like,
okay.
And it was like, thanks for sharing. I'll pass this along to the group. But yeah, I'm sharing that as a meme like as soon as we finish.
I love it.
It's so good. I know.
All right, Jeff,
That's a
we've
good
got
one.
one more game to play. It's called Dude, What's My Car? And this actually might be, I'm guessing, Joe, this could be the first time
Please.
he's on your team. So, Jeff, what we do is we have listeners email in pictures of cars, because as I'm sure you may have noticed when you talk about cars, I just sort of recede to the background, and Joe is able to actually converse with you, because Joe knows about cars, and I don't. So people email in cars, and I try to describe them and get Joe to guess them, usually leading with helpful things like, it's red. There are more than one set of headlights. In this game, you can either help me give clues or you can help Joe guess. What would you like to do?
I'll go with the guessing.
Okay.
Please, yes.
Because we have almost all of our guests on here they all love the movies, but they also don't seem to care about cars. So this is a nice turnaround.
Yeah, please.
Let's go.
Let me bring up the one. This is from Coast Always. Remember, he wrote in March, Michael. So he sent me the picture of the car, and then I had to email, but like, what is this? Because again, I don't know cars.
This game is a lot of fun, man. I'm glad you're on my team this time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So it's silver or gray, one or the other. I got to figure out what nationality this is.
If it's something super exotic, like
it's not. It's Japanese.
Okay.
And it's from the 70s. This one. Okay.
Okay.
This car that we're guessing is a 2-door car. It looks very similar to a lot of the cars in the movies that we've been watching, Joe. It's sort of got that similar kind of body. It's a very kind of long car, not overly long, but a long car, a low car. You would tell, like, even I would know that this is a car from the 70s. Like, it just looks like it's from the 70s.
Is it a Datsun?
It is.
There you go.
But you have to guess what type of car it is, and maybe it's going to be easy. There's one set of I'm looking at it at mostly a side angle, a tiny bit of profile, so I can see a tiny bit of the front in this picture. There's I think it looks like one set of headlights. It's sort of around like a fairly large but not overly large circle. There's the yellow, I guess, fog lights or whatever, or maybe just the hazard lights on the side.
Okay.
The grill is pretty straightforward, just horizontal lines going across. There's in the middle of the grill there is a metallic extrusion that goes across, but not like sticking out overly far. Again, I might not. It has a tiny, tiny spoiler in the back.
Okay.
Is it a Datsun Z?
Z is in the name.
Ugh, I can't remember the model number.
240 ZX.
No, you're close. I don't know.
200 ZX.
Wrong way.
Fuck. 260.
Keep going.
280.
280Z. There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
There we go. Jeff, how much fun is that game? It's hard.
I mean, he
with
got it
doing
really
the
quick.
grabbing, right? I know you
really
nailed it.
quick.
I heard 70s and I heard Japanese, and so my
But you
my
didn't
gut,
know what the Japanese was. That's always a good
exactly.
hint.
So this one is, he said, Michael said it's the last year before
Oh.
Datsun rebranded to Nissan in the US.
That's so cool. This is actually a really fucking cool car, actually. Isn't this the car that fucking Han has? Isn't this like the car that he has in like Han's garage? Like this is like
Oh,
he
Sun
owns
Kang,
one.
like Sun
Yeah,
Kang
like Sun Kang
Datsun.
owns one. Yeah, I think so. He
Oh
has
yeah,
some
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of-
yeah. No, he has a 240Z.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I mean, this car looks like it would belong in any of those movies.
Yeah, and it's super badass. This would actually be like a really cool car to have. Like I would always want something more rare. I was
Yeah.
actually calling my dad because we were watching The Italian Job, and I was like, Dad, and I was like talking to him about those Fiat Dinos, and I was like, do you know these? Like, have you ever seen one of these? Like, how fucking cool is this car? And we were just like gushing about the Fiat Dinos after I watched that movie for a while.
So actually, here's a question for the two of you, and this
What?
is something that I hesitated. I didn't say because I didn't want to get yelled at. But
What?
when you were talking about the new Supra, I just Googled before the 2020 Supra, and this kind of body type looks sort of like the 2020 Supra. Is that fair to say, or is that not fair to say?
I think it's roundy and has like a big nose. I mean, yeah.
I think it's like the big engine bay, and like it's a 2-door coupe. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty comparable.
I mean, I'm surprised you didn't get it when I just said it was gray, but you got it pretty fast, so it's not too bad,
Yeah,
too bad
man.
whatsoever. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. This was a
Yeah,
lot of
thank you,
fun.
brother.
Glad to have your insights onto Fury 7. I like your tie up one box, open another box. It's a very good way to look at this movie. It's a movie in transition. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. It was definitely fun chatting about one of my movie passions.
Good.
Wonderful. So now, if people want to find you online, find more of you on Twitter or anywhere else, is there anywhere that you want people to find you online?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm at J_legs.
Perfect.
LEGS.
Wonderful.
Easy. Very easy.
And we will tag you in this. This episode comes out Tuesday, so not that far off. So we'll tag you then. But very, very cool. Well, thank you. And so, Joe, on Friday, our next episode, we talked about
Yes.
it last time. We are
ahead.
watching
What is
Back
it?
to the
I don't
Future.
remember.
Back to the Future.
Yes! That's right. I forgot we're watching Back to the Future. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
It's Jake's pick. It's his patron pick over from Patreon.
yes.
So we're going to cover that on Friday. So I'm very excited to watch that.
Cool. Same.
And then next week, I'm not going to announce it yet, but next week we have a theme week. We have another theme week, 2 related sort of kind of movies coming up next week. There's a little bit of a teaser. We'll tell you more next time.
Okay.
But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you can go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Send in your new rankings. Send in whatever. We haven't asked for anything else in a while, have we? It's been
No.
sort of just say hi. Let us know how you're doing in quarantine. Family@cageclub.me.
I got a question. I got a question, guys. Where is the first place you want to go to when quarantine ends?
Oh,
Give yourself some light at the end of the tunnel. When this shit breaks, what's the first place you want to go to? It can be a restaurant. It can be a destination, a city. It can be a vacation.
I'd probably drive straight up back to the Bay Area and see family. It's been
Word. Perfect. I get a
yeah.
lot of family answers. People are saying a lot of family. I want to go somewhere that like I can be left alone with good food. So I'm planning a vacation, but I don't know where yet. I don't have a distinct answer. There's a lot of places that I want to go to, mainly on a plane because like that's part of it. Like I'm not allowed on planes, right? You know what I mean? Like we're not like,
right.
supposed to be flying, so I'm like I'm fucking flying. Like I said today, California, go to In-N-Out, come back.
Go to Texas, go to Whataburger, come back.
Never.
I had trips canceled to Austin and to LA, so I'd probably pick one of the two of those, right? Either to visit my
That's a
sister,
good
or I
answer.
was supposed to go to LA and meet my sister out there for something else.
Cool.
So like
Very
one or
good
the other,
answers.
right? So
Yeah.
I also do feel, and I think we might have even talked about it on this show before, it's like, I'm gonna try to stop taking things for granted and like assuming that we can just do anything at any point, because like that's not true anymore. Like you have to, and not in like a morbid like you could die, but just like things might not be available to you. Like restaurants might close, things might get shut down. Like make sure you live more life, because it could all go away without, in a heartbeat.
My wife and I, we went on our long belated honeymoon back in November, and like in hindsight, it was like, wow, that was crazy timing. But
yeah, Rachel and I were in Hawaii in February, and we came back and we were like, oh shit, shut down like immediately.
Yeah,
like I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, it definitely put like into hindsight, like being able to just travel and experience new places should not be taken for granted.
Yeah.
Nope.
But yeah, email family@cageclub.me. Let us know what where you want to go, what you want to do. I also do want to, it's not a mail to us, but if you remember, Joe, when we did the Tokyo Drift watch along, Wells was talking about wanting to watch The Simpsons on Disney Plus, and I was like, wait a couple weeks. They're going to fix the aspect ratio.
Oh, that's right.
Do it right. They just announced today that it's going to be fixed next Thursday, the 28th. So as this episode comes out, in 2 days, Disney Plus will have the correct 4:3 aspect ratio for the early episodes. Cool. So I emailed that to Wells, and he said, awesome, thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it. Got a journey ahead of me, but I'm ready. He says, I'm slowly catching up on more and more of the podcast. Soon enough, I'll be back to normal. I miss sending in emails, but I'll be back to form in the coming days. Well, Wells, we miss you.
We miss
Everybody
you,
misses you. Wells, keep sending those emails. Keep listening. Start watching The Simpsons. It's all coming. It's all coming soon. Family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon at toofast2forever.com. Just say hi. Let us know that you're out there. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too.
And that was Jeff Gelaspi. And we'll see you next time right here on Too Fast, Too Forever. Peace out.
Peace out.
You heinous
piecers.